Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat coming to you live after this incredible Thanksgiving vacation break, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully you guys all had a great vacation, great Thanksgiving. I did get some pictures from some of the viewers of some Thanksgiving food that they put together, some interesting ones. I'm going to share some of that, as well as some of my own, and talk a little bit about some changes that I've noticed here in the United States since coming back. Even, I guess this goes back as far as when we first arrived after the pandemic stuff, or during the pandemic, and how it hasn't gone back to normal. It's kind of strange. I'm talking about the, it used to be 24-hour. Anyway, we'll get more into that in just a second, so stick around. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, before I get too far, as always, I do need to encourage each of you to join in the conversation. I'm not an expert in anything that I talk about, so you might want to, well, maybe, except for an expert at being myself, and sometimes even that is questionable, but yes, today, talking about Thanksgiving and some of the changes that we've seen here in the United States since coming back. It's really strange for me to observe some of what I've seen. I know before I left, it used to be that, there were so many places that were 24 hours, especially places like Walmart. I was just doing some Cyber Monday shopping and happened to notice, it's like, well, this is available for pickup tomorrow. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why, if you've got it in the store, why can't I pick it up now? And then I remembered that, oh yeah, Walmart isn't open 24 hours a day anymore. Now, in some places, it never was. I think in California, it never was 24 hours. But everywhere else, Walmart was a 24-hour thing. So if you were in the middle of the night needing some kind of supply, if you needed any kind of cough medicine or anything like that, Walmart was kind of the go-to place. I really don't know where anybody goes at this point. I guess you'd have to go to the 7-Eleven. But most of the places that were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whatever it was, they just aren't anymore. And I understand they made the changes during the pandemic. I guess when everybody was all scared about sickness and all of that, somehow not being open 24 hours a day was helping to stop the spread. I'm not really sure what the justification was, but it's kind of strange that now we're this far onto the other side of this thing, and still nothing is open 24 hours a day. I think some places probably are, maybe some McDonald's locations are. But what happened? What exactly was the change? Was this really something to do with the pandemic, or was this something that was coming along before the pandemic ever hit? And maybe a lot of the businesses were looking at it as, we're losing money overnight. That's really what I'm curious about. If it had something to do with cost saving, because they just weren't getting enough business overnight to justify staying open, or is this one of those environmental things where they're talking like, carbon emissions and all of that, so it's better if we close overnight, even though the lights are all on and all of that. Something along those lines. I'd really like to know what was behind it. I understand a lot of businesses would never make that move if they were worried that their competition was going to take all the business. Maybe they just needed an event like the pandemic in order to make that change across the board so that nobody ended up losing out in the end, even though everybody ended up losing out in the end. I'm a little bit concerned to see that Walmart is spreading all over the place. I mean, they have been for a long time, but now it's getting to be that's the only place you can go for almost anything. I think in some communities, that is literally the only place to go if you want to buy clothes or pretty much whatever you need to buy, a television, you name it. It's very similar, I guess, if you go to Europe, if you get out in the middle of nowhere, you have few options, but there are places kind of like Walmart that you can go to. But it's interesting because it used to be that there were all kinds of shops, and now it's just Walmart. And they're slowly trying to take over the online world as well, competing with Amazon with their Walmart.com and whatnot. It's kind of strange for me to see all of this taking place, especially coming from China, where they had an abundance of competition. Strangely enough, it's really strange. Oh, by the way, I'm sure everybody noticed my hat. I forgot I was even wearing this thing. My wife found my old hat. Anyone who's been watching the channel long enough probably recognizes this thing. I don't know if it's in the intro video or any of that stuff, but this is my Chinese communist hat. Don't worry, I'm not a communist. I'm probably the least communist person you'll ever meet. But yes, I did pick this up at a tourist trap in Beijing many, many years ago, and I've had it ever since. I don't know if it's supposed to look like Chairman Mao's hat or something like. I don't think. Well, maybe in a few years, if it got beat up enough, it might look like Chairman Mao's hat. But yeah, it's just my cool little hat here. Don't get too concerned. I haven't gone over to the other side. This is just a throwback to old times with my hat, so I can confuse everybody. Let's see. I see comments coming in here. Hey, Andy Foxy, glad to see you. Always long-time listener of the channel. Let's see. Devil Dag, you like the intro? I have actually been thinking about updating the intro. Of course, I'm going to leave the whole music thing on there as long as they allow me to. But maybe not. Maybe not. Those were fun times back when I was actually traveling all over the place. I guess we still do that. I've had some people questioning how I'm able to do that. I don't know. There was one person that used to watch the channel all the time, and they'll leave comments here and there on some of the videos saying like, "How do you do that unless you're a spook?" And it's like, wow, I don't know. Do like spies get paid that much? I mean, I'm not sure, but I think that there's probably other reasons to travel than because you're a spy for the U.S. government or something like that. I'm not. Just in case anybody's wondering, I'm definitely not. Especially those of you in the Chinese government. I am not a spy. I am just a regular person with family in China, so please do not get confused by the commenters on the internet. But yeah, I love those times, and they lead to a lot of diversity, I guess you could say, with my my eating habits, which brings us to this whole Thanksgiving meal thing. I think most of what we ate was pretty normal. I mean, we cooked some turkey. I had some pot roast stuffing. My wife and son hate mashed potatoes, so they prevailed upon me not to make mashed potatoes, and I thought it over, and just realized, like, if I'm the only one going to be eating mashed potatoes, then that's probably not a good idea. But we did get all the other stuff that you would normally find in the thing, well, minus the cranberry sauce. Nobody else, again, I love cranberry sauce, but apparently nobody else in the family does. So, no cranberry sauce this time. I may have some somewhere buried in the cabinet, but just the same. Had our Thanksgiving meal. I've got some pictures. I wanted to share them with you guys. Don't worry. Let me see what we've got here. Here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me as well as I switch through this. Some Thanksgiving food that I put together. You can see there's of course, the turkey, some of the turkey. I got a turkey that was way too big. It was enormous for our 3-person family. And now I've got piles and piles of turkey meat in the fridge that I don't really know how I'm going to use that before it goes bad. I'll find some turkey fried rice and turkey this, turkey curry, I don't know, turkey sandwiches. I'm going to figure something out. You see some of the pot roast. Again, I made way too much. But there's also this Chinese asparagus back there, and you probably see this chopped up meat that looks like something from the Chinese restaurant. That is pork belly. One of my favorite things that I learned about in China, if you can just imagine slightly sweet, giant, thick-cut pieces of bacon-type meat. There you go. One of the most unhealthy things. I've got a closer image of it. I don't know. It really does look kind of like something from a Chinese restaurant, but I have never seen this at a Chinese restaurant in the United States. I don't know why. I think that this is absolutely delicious and should be served in all Chinese restaurants, whether American variety or authentic, whatever you want to call it. But absolutely delicious stuff. And I would make it all the time if I didn't know that it would kill me if I ate it all the time. But absolutely delicious stuff. So yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're going to be eating that for a while. I still have a bunch of pie. I bought a big old pumpkin pie, and it turns out that my son does not like pumpkin pie. I think my wife is okay with it, but to them, the appearance of the pumpkin pie looks a little bit strange. She's more in line with apple pie, apparently. I wish that they would have told me that before I got the giant pumpkin pie that's still sitting down there. I'll be the only one that eats it, and it'll probably go bad before I can manage to do that, so there's some unfortunately wasted food. But, Thanksgiving. And I didn't even get around to cooking everything that I wanted to, Chinese food-wise. It's just, if I'm the one cooking, it's a little bit hard. My wife can cook Chinese food, but believe it or not, I cook better Chinese food than she does, even though she's the one that's Chinese. She cooks really good Western food. She makes some of the best clam chowder I've ever had. But, when it comes to the Chinese stuff, I guess I'm the one that knows how to do it. Maybe it was all that time living alone in Beijing years and years ago, I figured out how to make this stuff. Otherwise, just eat bad food or eat takeout or something like that. I still need to figure out how to make the Longzhou Lamian stuff myself instead, because you can't really I take that back. They do have some, I think in Vegas. If you go to Vegas, they have restaurants that serve Longzhou Lamian, which is another delicious thing. I made a short, which, by the way, if you have a YouTube channel, don't make shorts, apparently, because it'll ruin your channel. I found that out from somebody else, but I do have a short on there of going to a place that makes that stuff, and man, is it delicious. I'm not encouraging anybody, don't go listen to those shorts. It'll destroy your mind. Let me see, what do we got here from the comments again? Let's see. That is a great question. Yes, about the 24-hour thing from Devil Dog. I know they had stalkers overnight, and on Skeleton Crew, it made sense to stay open and make some money. But yeah, I think it's all going to online shopping. It's funny. I think as far as Walmart is concerned, they still have the people in there stocking the shelves, and the same number of people. They haven't changed that sort of thing. They just don't let customers come in until morning. So I guess the store is still operating in a sense for 24 hours, just not on a commercial, they're not selling stuff 24 hours, except on the website. But that's not convenient. If I need to get some NyQuil or something in the middle of the night, I need to be able to go into Walmart. And I can't do that now because, they've decided to go into this new model. That was something I was always proud of, even when I was in China. When I was in Beijing, sure, there were places that were open 24 hours a day that I could go down and get something if I wanted to. But for the rest of China, that's not the case. If you're in Europe, again, definitely not the case, even more so than in China. I think in China, even in a village, there's probably somewhere you could go that would be open for whatever purpose. But in Europe, definitely not. I think most places, it's like 6 o'clock and everything is closed. And if it's a Sunday, forget it, you're not going to get anything. But I was always proud of that fact. Like in the United States, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. I can always go out and get what I need or get something, And, that's just not the case anymore. It definitely not the case. A lot has changed. It's very bizarre to see the changes that have taken place here in the United States and to try and understand exactly what's going on. I still don't understand the woke stuff, but it sounds like that might be on its way out. But, the changes in the way that business works, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It seems like we've gone backwards somehow, but not in a good way, You think back to the past when things were really good, and you think, boy, it'd be nice if we could go back to that. And somebody else may have had the same idea, except they picked up different things that weren't the part that you thought was great. We'll just go back to we'll bring back the really crappy stuff and, continue on with everything else that's bad about the current situation. And, I guess that's where we are now. I really have to wonder if it's a carbon footprint sort of thing that they're worried about, if this is all about that. Who knows? Who knows what it is? I guess these big business people get together and talk about this stuff in Davos and figure it all out, things that the regular people like you and I just are not worthy of knowing about. If we want to go and, shop in the middle of the night, that's just too bad. We don't know what's good for us. You can't go have your soda in the middle of the night. Let's see. Ark Livin, I still don't understand why your live streams aren't more populated. You make sense and are very articulated and cultured. Not trying to toot your horn, it's just kind of outside the paradigm. Yeah, well, I think that I managed to get myself shadow banned. I don't know. I think it all started back in the pandemic when I had no idea that YouTube would not like people talking about what was actually happening. So me being in China, I start talking about everything that's taking place. And the next thing I know, I guess I was... what was it that happened? I was like getting 5,000 views and all these views on a video, and then it just went away. Whew, gone. And I think that that's what happened. And I've been stuck in this limbo thing ever since. But whatever. What can you do? I wish that I understood exactly what was going on with it, but and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a really irritating guy, and people don't want to hear what I have to say. Or, there's just so much competition. Really, on YouTube, there's, millions and millions and millions of people all putting out videos, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are articulate and, better at this than I am. And, they've got all the people watching. Or maybe I've miscategorized somehow. I've, put my channel into the wrong category. Who knows? Whatever the reason is, I guess it is what it is. But if you want, I'd love to see more people in here. I guess everybody can spread the word. Tell your friends to come and join the conversation so that we can make this a livelier thing. There was a little while where we had some trouble with that. I what was it? Somehow I got hacked by somebody. They jumped in the chat and started posting all kinds of crazy stuff. My feed went dead. It was a really crazy experience that has not repeated. I probably shouldn't have brought that up. Now I'm going to get jinxed. Somebody's going to listen to that and hack into the thing. I don't know how they did it. YouTube, they claimed that, there's no way that anybody could do that, even though it happens all the time to other people. But, well, thankfully that hasn't happened since. I made some changes, but I got rid of them because... I want to hear from people, even if they're, at least I think I got rid of the changes. I had it set up where only channel members could come, say they're channel subscribers, not members. Members means you have to be a paying member. YouTube for a while was trying to push that. I think it's on there where people can be members, but I don't really see anything from it because YouTube doesn't give me any money. So yeah, I don't know why. Of course, they wanted to get the money. So, if you want to become a channel member and pay money to Google and YouTube, you're fully welcome to do that. But I think a subscription or subscribing to the channel is all I really need. And participating in the conversation. Let's see. Hey, we're getting a lot of pork belly is great. It is. Andy Foxy knows because he lives in Hong Kong, so he's probably familiar with the stuff. I first discovered pork belly many, many years ago. It would have been, I guess, in 2006, now that I think about it. The first time I went to China, I had an auntie that cooked it for me. And, man, ever since, that was delicious. There's a few things that I ate back then that I wish I knew how to make. They can make this soup with a fish in it. It sounds kind of strange, but believe me, it's absolutely delicious. They make this soup, and I have no idea how to make it. Of course, when they cook with fish, they use fish that we don't normally eat here, like carp. I think you can probably go get it at the Chinese market. They probably have it there. It's essentially a giant goldfish that's not gold. The gold ones are lucky, I think. Anything that's kind of different is lucky, but it's like a giant goldfish that's not gold colored. Bottom feeder fish. Of course, we eat catfish and that sort of thing. Probably similar flavor. Who knows? It has kind of a muddy taste to it. I don't know how to describe it. But when they make it in the soup, boy, that's some good stuff. Other times, eating fish in China is kind of risky. They have all these, I don't know what it is with the fish there. Normally if I'm eating like some fish and it has some bones, you can avoid, getting stabbed by the stuff. But they have these fish that have barbs that seem to come off of the bones all over the place. I've seen some of the bones. It literally looks like it has, like 5 spikes coming out in different directions. And, they can eat it just fine. They don't even, they like get the meat in their mouth, they eat it, and they spit the bones out. I tried to do the same thing, and I'm just getting stabbed all over the place. It just does not work. So I have learned to be very cautious when it comes to eating fish over there. And talking about it sure makes me miss the place. But It's interesting that I'm hearing about China in the news and on social media a little bit about a new sickness that's going around. I still haven't heard anything from family, so I don't think that the Chinese population is necessarily scared about anything. I don't know how widespread it is, but I keep hearing, oh, there's a lung disease or something, and people are ending up in the hospital. Of course, they've been saying that hospitals are flooded for so long that I don't know how much of it I can actually trust. I'm going to have to start asking some questions here. Have you guys, well, I better not. Then I might be in trouble for spreading rumors. I get on there, hey, have you guys heard about this lung disease? And the next thing you know, I'm barred from ever entering China again because I've been spreading rumors. Probably not. But I haven't heard about it. I haven't seen it in the Chinese news. And maybe they have shifted away from the zero COVID thing so far that they don't want to, create a panic. Or maybe it just doesn't exist and it's something that Western media is trying to scare everybody about. Who knows? I don't know the answers to YouTube and the people who deal with this stuff. I really don't know. And I'm going to say that right now. I don't know if there really is a disease. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just commenting on what I'm hearing and what I'm not. Let's see. I've already shared it. Hey, thanks, Devil Dog. Glad you were able to share that out. Hopefully we can get some more people in here for the conversation. It should be interesting. Oh, I almost forgot, before I get too far, I did get a photo in of an interesting Thanksgiving meal, or not the whole meal, but some of the food that was cooked for it. Here from Mutant Riff, I wanted to share with you guys. He made a pizza. I don't know how if he's making it in but it looks delicious to me. He said that the crust was a little bit too big because he got the temperatures off. The temperature's been a little bit warmer out there lately, but to me, it looks quite delicious. If you're wondering what's on it, it's got pepperonis, hearts of artichoke, black olives, and, of course, mozzarella cheese. But, yeah, I happen to really enjoy pizza. It's something that when I was a little kid, it was my favorite food. And I was told someday you're going to get tired of eating it, and that day has never come. I've never gotten tired of pizza. Now, there are some forms of pizza that I do not like. Not like what you think. I'll eat pretty much anything in the Western world. You have a pizza with pineapples on it, no problem. I'll eat that one up. Even if it had anchovies, no problem. But I did encounter some pizza when I was living in China that was probably the worst thing I've ever had in my life. So just to give some background on this, they have this mayonnaise. And yes, already I'm sure that a lot of you are thinking pizza and mayonnaise. This sounds terrible. Well, believe me, it can get much worse than just pizza and mayonnaise. They have this mayonnaise over there that's sweet. It's anyway, I'm at the supermarket and I'm in there and I see that, like they normally have all this stuff. They'll have like these baozi, which is a little bun with some meat in it that's usually steamed. They'll have dumplings. And they had this pizza that looked absolutely amazing. It looked like this really deep dish pizza. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a slice of that pizza. And, it's got like all this cheese on it and all these toppings. It had some strange things like corn. For some reason, they like to put corn on pizza in China. But I thought, what the heck? I'll get this and I'll have it for my lunch. So I get this pizza and I go out and I find a bench and I sit down. And I go to take this great big bite of the pizza, and immediately something is wrong. It tastes, it's like goop. That's the only way I can describe it. It turns out that thick bunch of cheese that I thought was cheese was actually mayonnaise. It was this sweet mayonnaise stuff, and something for sauce that was kind of like ketchup. If you can probably imagine. It was terrible. So I have learned to be very careful about any kind of pizza or anything like that they have at the supermarkets in China because, they might it might just be a mayonnaise pizza, a sweet mayonnaise pizza, which is not a good thing. Now, some people might be thinking about that and thinking like, well, that sounds all right. And, I guess you can be adventurous and give it a try. But for me, no, I couldn't do that. I can eat chicken feet. I can eat all kinds of weird stuff. Chicken feet isn't necessarily weird. But believe me, there's some weird stuff that I've eaten in China, and I can eat all of it. But the pizza with the mayonnaise on it, I can't do that. I guess when it comes to weird Western stuff, where I'm expecting something and I get something different. No, I can't really do that. So I avoid that. But the pizza that Mutant Riff made there looked absolutely delicious. And it reminds me that I ought to get. I used to know how to make pizzas really well, but I haven't done it in so long. I mean, in China, sometimes if you're really lucky, you might have an oven, but for the most part, nobody has an oven. So I was never able to make baked things of any kind while I was there. And now I'm back, in the United States. I've got an oven. I should probably start making some of that sort of stuff. My son would probably appreciate it. He loves pizza just as much as I do. Let's see. Arc Living, I'll share it before I rack out. I'm not active on my channel anymore, but I think I still have around 4.5 thousand subs. That's more than me. Holy smoke. I think, yeah, I'm like, I need to get more subs. My wife's channel is far more entertaining, I think, than mine. But hers is about travel and visiting different places. So if you haven't checked it out, you can check. I do all the filming. Of course, most of what we've been posting is from so long ago at this point. We made a big trip around the country and filmed a bunch of places. And I have been very, very slow in putting those videos together and getting them out. So I'm just now I think it's been about a year for some of the videos, but I am slowly getting them out. I should have another one out tomorrow, this time in Spokane, Washington. So if you follow her channel, I guess you can look forward to that. Boy, I wish that I filmed some while we were in Europe, and I'd love to get to those. Of course, I've got a different camera now. I have, great lenses and that sort of thing. I'd love to get those out, but it's got to be in order. Let's see. Be careful eating fish. Yes, sushi is great. But you have to be careful if you don't understand the language. I had an experience with that as well in Beijing. My friends and I went to this sushi place, and we saw that on a certain day, like if you go in on a certain day, they'll have like a discount on certain colors. It's weird. It's like I know they used to have these places in the United States too. They have these plates or bowls of sushi that kind of float around the thing, and you pick up what you want and eat it as it goes by. And they have different colored plates that have different prices. And it's like, well, on this day, this colored plate, it's, discounted. So, or at least that's what we thought. My friend that I had there, he's the one that could supposedly read Chinese at the time. He informed us so. So we all, like, wow, at this price, we can eat tons of this stuff. This is great. So we ate a bunch of it. And at the end, when it was time to pay, we realized that we got the dates wrong, and we had this huge bill. So you got to be careful with that. Of course, also make sure that you're eating at a reputable place. When it comes to sushi, in some cases the fish is raw. Other times it's cooked. But when you're eating raw fish, you probably want to make sure it's as fresh as it can be. But sushi is delicious stuff, I have to say. Let's see. Stationed in Japan. Oh, you probably got some really good stuff. China, it was always, like, well, we're close to Japan, but I don't think to them it's just as different for people in China as it is here in the United States, which means that while they may know more about what to expect, it doesn't mean that it's going to be, the most authentic thing in the world. So you have to be careful. I was always I never got this stuff. They had, just like here in the United States, it seems like every grocery store now has sushi in the grocery store. They were doing that in China as well, but I never trusted that. No thanks. I'll pass this time. Let's see, anchovies. Yes, anchovies on pizza. That seems to have disappeared in recent times, but I remember as a kid it was a lot more common to have anchovies on pizza. Little fish, if you're wondering what they are. But yeah, I don't know. In Europe, it seems to be perfectly common. Kind of like Vietnamese made. Yes, the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Vietnamese apparently have that sweet mayonnaise stuff. You can buy it here in the United States if you're curious about trying it. I think that even at Walmart, if you go in there, they'll always have like this little section that has Asian stuff. I've seen it in there. I know it's there. So if you're curious about trying the sweet mayonnaise, you can give it a try. I'd recommend going with the stuff that's mixed with, some spices. I can't remember what they call it, but it's kind of a pink color. That's pretty good as far as sauce goes, but remember it is mayonnaise, so just remember what you're eating when you're stuffing this stuff down your throat. Yeah. Let's see. Got put in ads. Oh yeah, these ads they've made changes to the way that YouTube does ads, and I don't have a lot of control over what they do. It has like different levels, I guess, that you can choose: moderate, heavy, and whatnot. And I just put it like whatever the regular one. That's kind of like when I go to the you go to the fast food place, and they're like, would you like to make that large? And like, well, I just want to get the regular size. And apparently there isn't like a regular size. I always thought of like medium is supposed to be the regular size, but then it's hit or miss. Sometimes you go to a fast food place and you get medium, and it has like this huge drink. Of course, all the drinks seem huge now that I'm back in the United States. And sometimes it's not. So I don't know what the regular is supposed to be, but yeah, when it comes to the ads, I just put in what I think is regular, I guess. Just let YouTube handle it. I'd be curious, what are they advertising on my channel? Probably nothing special. Maybe, who knows? Strange stuff. Let's see. There is no ovens in China. There are ovens sometimes. And other times you'll go into, like, if they have a really modern kitchen, they'll have something that to a Westerner, you see it and you think, oh, there's an oven underneath the range, There's like the stovetop thing on the counter, and there's something underneath, and you're like, oh, well, that's really cool. And then you open it up, and it's got like dish racks and stuff in there. And it turns out it's like it's not even a dishwasher. It's like a dish sanitizer. I don't know how to describe it. It just kills all the stuff on the dishes, but it's not an oven. Usually if somebody mentions an oven or having an oven, they're actually referring to like a toaster oven. They don't use microwaves a whole lot over there, thankfully, because microwaves destroy. Well, I'm sure there's some people that know how to use a microwave properly, but in China they don't really use those. But if somebody does mention an oven, that's usually what they're talking about, just a toaster oven. Which I had one of those, but I don't know how to make, how do I bake stuff in a toaster oven? I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure there's methods, but I never actually found them. Let's see. A lot of Vietnamese restaurants, a devil dog. A lot of Vietnamese restaurants serve the mayonnaise on their sandwiches. And speaking of those Vietnamese sandwiches, those are absolutely delicious. Sometimes I thought maybe if I opened a shop selling those in China, it might do very well. But then I thought better of it. They've got Subway over there, and it doesn't seem to do all that well. Well, probably because there's something wrong with it. It looks just like the American Subway, but for some reason, it just isn't. I've gotten sandwiches there, and it looks, literally, it feels like the Subway sandwich here in the United States. And, that's not saying anything because Subway's not, like this high-end gourmet food. But for some reason, the Subway in China just wasn't the same. The meat, it all looked the same. Everything looked exactly the same. It just, I don't know. There was a very slight difference, but it was enough that it just was kind of off-putting and not enjoyable. And it's so expensive over there, at least from what I remember. And maybe it was because it was in RMB instead of dollars. So, everything is kind of jarring when you get over there. And it's like, well, that'll be, like 30 RMB. Like, holy moly, what, 30 RMB? And you realize that it's only like, I'm not even sure what that is now, like $5 or something. Probably not even $5. Let me think. Last I was there, it was like $7.25, something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of jarring when you hear the price. And then you really start to think about it, and you're like, wait a minute, no, it's not more expensive. It's actually cheaper. McDonald's is cheaper in China, surprisingly. I don't know what's happened to the fast food here, but it's gotten crazy expensive. Every time I go, it's like, oh, that's right, I was getting a Happy Meal for my son, like, okay, I'll get the Happy Meal. That's usually like $4 or $5, it's nothing really bad. With the tax, it'll probably be around $6. I go to order and it's like, okay, that'll be $10, and it's like, what? I just got him a Happy Meal. What did I accidentally order 2? No, it's just one Happy Meal, chicken nuggets. Like, oh man, I thought the regular stuff was getting expensive. You try to get a Big Mac, you're going to be walking out. You can't get it for less than $10. It seems like. Maybe I'm just in the wrong place at the wrong, something like that. Upsides, Jay's ads, please. Yeah, let's upside. I can do that. Remember, there are different levels that you can choose when you're doing the advertisements on the channel. So maybe I could, I just choose the biggest one and see what it does. Then everybody would probably leave because it would be nothing but ads. And they'd be like, what am I sticking around this for? This is nothing but ads. With this crazy guy with the communist hat on. Oh, man. Yeah, the ads. Temu, yeah, that's all over YouTube. Temu. It's just Chinese manufacturers that have been used to, I guess, a lot of Americans and people in Europe buying cheap stuff to sell on Amazon, who, for whatever reason, that has kind of changed, where people are no longer doing that as much, and now they're trying to sell it themselves. I'm pretty sure that's what Temu is. It's the same kind of stuff that I'd always see. If I went to the big international markets, like I used to like to do, they would have all kinds of stuff like that in there. Just random little goodies that you can find that seem like a great idea, until you actually get it and it breaks immediately. But if it was built a little bit higher quality, maybe it would be something useful. But Chinese people have enough sense not to buy that stuff. They'll leave it to the Westerners to try and sell on, e-commerce shops here. And keep all the good stuff for the Chinese consumers, I guess, or the people that actually have some sense about what they're doing. But it was just the same. It was very interesting to go through those places. They have so many things. I remember when I first went to China, they had these MP3 watches. I still have it somewhere. I have no idea. I'm not sure where, but I've got this old watch that I picked up when I was in China that it's like an MP3 player. It probably still has some of the old songs on it. But you can plug in, some headphones, which was actually, it turned out to be really annoying. Every time I'd move my hand, it would pull the headphones out of my ears. But it was still kind of cool, the MP3 watch. They also had cell phone watches all the way back in 2000. I guess it was probably around 2008 that I saw those. They had these, cell phone watch. They were trying to, I don't know if it actually worked, but I remember seeing it advertised all over the Chinese TV. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was kind of interesting. It looked like, whatever they imagined in the 1970s people would be communicating with, like, oh, hey, talk to the people on the watch, kind of thing. And no, it wasn't a radio watch. It was actually a cell phone, which was interesting. Of course, so much has changed. Now it's all just Android and iPhone. Back then, there were so many different options. And I guess there still is. They have a bunch of different phone companies over in China that I wish were available here. They have them in Europe. Of course, Huawei is out of the picture. That's something you probably don't want to get. They're barred from getting any of the good stuff to put in their phones. But they have a bunch of others that are very interesting. I've often mentioned them here. Xiaomi, they make great phones. Vivo, there's a few of them, but they are available in China. I mean, in Europe. Of course, they're available in China. They're Chinese phones. But there is one Chinese phone that is not available in China, but is available here. I think it's the OnePlus. That is something they don't sell in China, but they make it in China. Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, it's ridiculous now. Us poor people, that is all we can afford. Yeah, it's funny what I see on this Temu. They'll be advertising like this little tiny washing machine or something, and I'm thinking, well, that's pretty cool to have a little portable washing machine like that. And then I start to think about it, and I'm looking, like, what would I even fit in this washing machine? I mean, it might be able to fit a pair of socks. What's the point of that? And it would probably break immediately. That's the other problem. Portable washing machines, that's something that's very different over in the rest of the world. Washing machines and dryers. They don't have dryers. Even in Europe, I've, been all over the place, and I'll be talking to someone about how, oh man, this usually came up in China. It'd be nice to have a dryer so that I can have fresh, dried clothes It makes them softer, and they're like, yeah, it never gets the clothes dry here. And I'm, thinking that we're talking about the same thing, and it turns out they're just talking about the spin cycle on their miniature washing machine. And it's like, boy, it'd be, you have no idea what you're missing out. Washing machines and dryers here in the United States are so different from other places. It's, and I'm sure you can get some of that stuff in other places. It's just not as common. But, dryers, that's something that I missed from time to time when I was over there. Let's see, Maxwell smart talking into the shoe. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, use and that's something somebody could come up with. I'm sure that the stuff is out there. You could probably convert anything into a cell phone if you knew how they worked, or if you could get. I mean, if you were in China, you'd have access to everything you would need. I mean, it wouldn't be able to be a smartphone, but you could certainly turn it into like a Bluetooth device. That would be entertaining. Just have it attached to your phone, like answer the phone by taking your shoe off and sticking it up to your head, just to see what people would say. It'd be kind of amusing. I'm sure that the technology is out there to be able to do something like that. Now somebody's going to steal my idea. I think they probably already have things like that. But that would be entertaining. I bet you could do it really cheap, too. Bluetooth stuff is actually pretty cheap. I've seen people make all kinds of homemade Bluetooth devices over in China, usually to put on their scooters. It was kind of interesting to see people putting all these big speakers and stuff. They just build them. They just put it together. Technology, I wish that we had more of that here in the United States. I think that it's terrible when I look at how manufacturing has gotten away from us. They like to say, well, it's the service economy. That's where you want to be. And I'm looking at things here in the United States right now, and I'm saying, I don't think that the service economy is where we want to be. I think that things were a lot better for the regular people when we had all that manufacturing stuff, more jobs, more to do. And now, what do people do? I don't even know. I guess if you're in the working class, it has gotten so bad that working class is basically fast food and, retail. And I'm not talking about management retail. I'm talking about, the cashier, the stalker, whatever you want to call it. That's all that's left. There's just not a whole lot out there. Even when I was first coming into the working world, there was, a lot of distribution at least, but a lot of that has moved overseas as well, where they receive it, but they don't need as many people because it comes ready to go. They just ship it directly to the store, and they don't really have a lot of need for warehouses and that sort of thing. So I don't know what people are doing I guess they're not. And I look at things, who's buying houses? I think that you're supposed to have like a 30% down payment. And I was talking to my wife, and it's like, well, the average home in the United States is $300,000. It's like, wow, wait a minute. You'd have to have $30,000 saved up to put down on that house if you wanted to get a loan, or if you even wanted a chance at getting a loan. And I think, is that common? I don't think that that's common for the average American to have $30,000 saved up in the bank. It just seems like people are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Certainly nobody in the working class that we just talked about is going to be having, $30,000 sitting around. It's crazy. The American dream, I guess, if it ever was, a house and a yard is absolutely gone. Of course, I don't buy into that. If you have been sold that false dream of having a house and a car as being the American dream, it's actually freedom. To be able to have, how would you describe it? Control of your own life, where you don't owe people anything. Everything that you have is yours, and your own space. You're in control of your own life. That's the actual American dream. And, in many cases, it takes the form of a house. But I can't imagine how owing the bank money for 30 years is any kind of freedom of any kind. I mean, it doesn't belong to you at that point. It actually belongs to the bank. And no matter how much you've paid into this thing, if you ever find yourself in a bad situation, then, they can just take it from you. And I'm not saying that to stress anybody out. I know those situations are stressful enough as it is, but, that idea of that being the American dream, that's the American nightmare. we need to figure something out to fix this so that people can actually live the American dream and have some independence, be able to take care of themselves, self-sufficiency. That's what it really comes down to. And you're not going to get that from a mortgage. Maybe sort of. I guess if you think about it smartly, maybe there's some things you could do with the borrowed money to be able to make money. But it has to make sense to you in your own mind. Don't ever do anything just because that's what you're supposed to do. That can lead to big problems. Anyway, let's see. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Absolutely right. And I wish that we could get back to some of that. Maybe we are. Maybe we are in this country. Maybe this is the best place for doing that. But we'll hope so. In either case, I have been on here now for about 45 minutes, so I probably better bring it to an end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try and do this daily again. I mean, the channel does say American Expat Daily for my call sign or whatever it is that YouTube assigned to me. So I guess they expect me to be doing this daily. I guess I better get back to doing that. So at least every weekday, I'm going to try and be on here around 10:30. We'll see if we need to adjust the time. It's all dependent, of course, on when my son gets to sleep, since he insists that I must be there, as always. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in the next one. ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางประกงทางห้วย